Is anybody gonna even listen to this? They say that a woman gets her identity, purpose, and meaning from her relationships. They say a man gets his purpose, meaning, identity from his job. The only problem with that is what happens when you lose your job. What happens when the woman loses an important relationship? Then you're stuck with zero. You have nothing. You're empty. Something's missing. It's true, you do, or a person can get at least part of what they need, a part of their identity and purpose from these things, but that's not enough. You won't ever be told that, because the truth is hard to find. And there's a prince of the power of the air that operates around the whole world, and coming from a biblical perspective, and he controls the airwaves, I guess you could say, of information and whatnot that is shared and received throughout the whole world. So it's hard to find that what really gives you, and it exists, but it's hard to find what gives you a deep peace, that through and through peace that fills your soul, that can't be taken away like a job or a relationship. And when your identity is in this, you can't be shaken. And sometimes it's a process, but if your identity, I'll just say it, if your identity is in Jesus, and Jesus is your identity, like I said, it's a process sometimes, but you won't ever be lonely. You don't have to ever be lonely again. That's at least what I've experienced. So if you think you have your all your ducks in a row because you have your relationships and you have your job, and you think you're set up and you're on a sound, firm foundation, what do you do when you retire? Or what do you do if your friend dies or moves away and drops you, which happens? I know people that have had that happen to them. Their supposedly best friend turned their back on them and chose somebody else. What do you do? Jesus is the only thing that won't go away, and he never changes. And if you want that, or if you want a deep sense, not just a sense, it's the actual reality of identity and who you are and your purpose. Love, if you want love, real love, not the kind that's based on emotion, that's fickle, or infatuation, that may last for a year or two or less. If you want real purpose and, like I said, a sense of identity, no, if you want your identity, you can only get it from Jesus. He himself is life. He himself is the truth. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through him. That's another thing. When you trust in Jesus, you no longer have to have a fear of dying. And you no longer have to, or let's say you won't be guilty. You won't have a guilty conscience. Because until you surrender yourself to Jesus, you're gonna have a guilty conscience because you are. The Bible says you're condemned until you give yourself to Jesus, until you believe in him and call on his name. You are condemned. That's biblical. So it goes to say that it's normal that you would have a guilty conscience. You can get rid of all that, man. You can get rid of all that. Just give it to Jesus. Come to him. Get your purpose. Get your identity. Get love and security. A deep down security that doesn't go away. And like I said, you don't have to ever be lonely again. Because if you're in Jesus and he's in you, then you're never alone. And he's your Father anyway. He's your creator. So I'd say get on over to Jesus as quick as possible. Why suffer any longer? And one of the things that keeps people from doing that is fear of what their neighbor or their friends or their family are going to say. Yeah, that's a real thing. Some people get ostracized. They get kicked out of their family or friends. People that used to be their friends will no longer be your friend if you come to Jesus. That could happen. It's your choice. God gave you and me, all of us, the free will to choose. You know, you either choose him and live forever. The Bible says you'll never die. Because you start living in eternity the moment you accept Jesus and believe on him and come to him, where he becomes your all in all. So yeah, that's what I hope for everybody. Because I know people are searching, whether they say it or not. You got to put on your best foot forward and put on that Facebook smile. But behind all that, I know people are empty and searching and not really, truly, deeply, through and through satisfied. No, you're not. You can't be. You can't be. Because if you don't have Jesus, you can't be. He's the only thing that really satisfies you, where you don't need anything else. I mean, anything, you know. I've tested that a lot too over the years. I put myself in situations where, even on purpose, I wouldn't suggest this, but I just wanted to see if God would provide for me, and he always did, man. Always did. You know, if I needed a job, somebody came up to me and said, hey, you know, somebody that I knew, for example, he said, hey, I need a job, I know where you can work. And I always survived, you know, and that's kind of what for many years, that was my mode of operation, was just to survive. And I'm still here. I'm doing better. I'm doing better than ever. Yeah, if you want to really be happy and be able to laugh, even laugh at the crazy world that's getting crazier all the time, you got to have Jesus, man. I mean, it's a spiritual. It's coming down to, and it's getting more and more visible that it's a spiritual war, a spiritual struggle. It's not between the political parties. It's between God and the devil. And the devil is, like I said at the beginning, the prince of the power of the air. And God has allowed him to run this place down here for a while. But when you believe on Jesus, you get taken out of the devil's kingdom, which is here on this earth. And you get put in God's glorious, wonderful, warm and secure and loving and peaceful kingdom. So you can decide to let yourself be intimidated and afraid of what people are going to think. You can do that, but your future doesn't look very bright. I mean, like your future when this life is over, that doesn't look too bright. Or you can choose to maybe take some hits as far as relationships and what people think. But you can do the right thing, the thing that would be right for you. You can do that. Because and choose Jesus. Because everybody's looking at everybody and saying, what are they going to think of me? What are they going to think of me? You know, you're thinking that about what the other people think. But the other people are thinking the same thing. They're thinking, what are they going to think about me for example, if I believe in Jesus? I mean, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Yeah, it'll set you apart. But you'll be living the truth and you'll have love in your heart. I could write a song. It'll set you apart, but you'll have love in your heart. And real life. I mean, real life. So it's up to you. I pray that you make the right decision. Make the only decision that there is.